Yeah, so one time when I was about 14 years old, we went to the X Games at what was then called the First Union Center. I think it's called something stupid now, like Xfinity Mobile Arena. Yeah, I really wish that they would just start calling stadiums like cool shit again. But yeah, we were there for the BMX vert competition, and there was a bunch of people trying to get an autograph from Dave Mirra. And look, I have never been into sort of like BMX vert or Dave Mirra. You know, I only sort of knew him by name. But I sort of wanted an autograph too from, you know, a celebrity guy. So I went over and I was like reaching down like really hard to try to get his autograph. And look, you know, I am a lanklet, so you know I have a pretty long reach. So you know my hand was sort of like reaching down further than everybody else's. But you know what happened? He signed every single fucking piece of paper except for mine. Like it seemed like he almost sort of intentionally ignored me because I was trying too hard to get his attention. You know, it's been a really long time since I've posted on this channel. I think close to 2 years. Maybe you forgot that you subscribed to me, and it's like, you know, who's this fucking guy popping up on my feed? You know, I have a bit of reluctance posting to this channel again, you know, for various reasons. But I think one of the main reasons is because, like, you know, me being a late-age virgin, sort of, it was never really the main story of my life, you know? I think it's interesting that I made it as far as I did, and, you know, I think I was a bit ahead of the curve when it comes to sort of the comeback of classic YouTube. But me being a virgin at the time, it was not something that I really hinged my identity on. Like, I never really even thought about it, you know? Like, I never saw it as, like, pathetic. You know, I never saw myself as a loser. You know, I was just kind of sort of indifferent to it because I did have other things going on for me. You know what this channel was? It was a couple of things. One of the things it was sort of an attempt to get people to listen to my music. I spent a really long time making an album, which I still think is pretty good, by the way. But the thing about YouTube is, and I've said this before, like, you could upload fucking government secrets and nobody would ever find your video. So even if I uploaded, like, you know, music videos, which I did, nobody was ever going to find them. So I had a couple of ideas to sort of like get people to the music, you know, like what if I upload a popular Pink Floyd song and then, you know, put a redirect link into the music. And I did that, but you know, Pink Floyd's fucking automatic copyright detection or whatever, it swapped out the link I put to my music for some like live performance of Comfortably Numb. And you know, I had a couple other ideas to sort of like get people to my music that, you know, had varying levels of success, but I never really hit the jackpot, so to speak. But then I thought, you know, what's something that I'm certain would get some kind of views? Well, you know, I was 31 at the time, and I was still a virgin. Sort of. What if I did a video about that? And that's how this channel was born. Yeah, and actually, coincidentally, I uploaded my first video on this channel on the same day that the Joker movie came out. So, you know, divine timing there. And hey, people seem to like it, so, you know, I just kept making more videos. But I didn't want to keep spamming my music, so I stopped linking them at the end of the video. And hey, you know, if you want to check it out, I'm not going to stop you. So, you know, I'm sure I'll put a link somewhere over here. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it wasn't just about spamming my music. It was still coming from a real place. None of the things I've ever said in these videos is fake. Yeah, I think more than just spamming my music, you know, I made this channel because I do kind of feel like a ghost sometimes. In some way, I guess it was sort of like me sort of reaching down to Dave Mirra, just like begging him to please acknowledge that I am real. I exist. I'm not just some fucking wandering ghost that doesn't realize that he's died. You know, surely I've said something that has caught your attention. Can you please just grab the fucking piece of paper out of my hand and just sign it like you did with everybody else? But look, you know, I don't know if any of you have ever made a YouTube video that gets like a couple thousand views, which really isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. But, you know, it's still a lot of people. Like, it is one of the most stressful things that you can do as a human being, especially with the type of videos that I make on this channel. Or I don't know, maybe I'm just a very neurotic person, I don't know, but like, it does send a shock through your nervous system to sort of like be publicly seen in that way. So I just stopped making videos for a couple of years, and look, I am glad that people relate to my videos and like them and have gotten something out of them. And like, I've seen the ripple effects that my videos have had. Like, even as small as my channel is, like, you can still tell that people have been watching your videos, you know? And I could not be more proud of the impact that I made, as small as it may have been. But I just keep thinking back to Dave Mirra, you know? Like, what's the lesson to be learned there? And I think the lesson is that I'm just kind of fucking tired of begging for people's attention. There's this sort of meme image that goes around on the internet of, like, these two miners that are, like, digging for diamonds. And the one miner is, like, he's right on the brink of hitting the jackpot, you know? He stops right before he does. And the guy in front of him is about to get it instead. And, you know, if he had just kept going that one last inch, you know, he would have got it. And I think it's possibly the worst image possible that could exist. Because on the surface, you know, it seems like a sort of like, you know, don't give up, you know, your ascension could be right around the corner if you just keep digging. But really, you know, if the devil wanted you to keep playing the slot machines at the casino, or, you know, if he wanted you to keep making YouTube videos in the hopes that one of them goes viral, he would just hang that image in front of you. But, you know, there is a counterattack to this devil magic, and it's just to flip it on its head. Don't see yourself as the miner on the verge of success. You know, be the diamonds. Don't keep pulling the lever for the jackpot. Just be the jackpot. Just, you know, sort of leave little gems of yourself in the world and let whoever finds them be blown away when they do. And that's kind of where I'm at with this channel. It's, you know, it's there if someone goes looking for it, but I'm not going to beg for your attention anymore. That's not to say I won't ever make videos again, but, you know, it's only if I have something to say. Yeah, I think I've always sort of posted online in this way, but, you know, I'm just really doing it now. As far as how I'm doing, I actually feel pretty good. I feel fantastic all the time, basically. Like, you know, I go for jogs in the morning, I DoorDash, go for these, like, really cozy night walks listening to music. You know, I eat healthy foods, mangoes in the morning, you know, veggie roasts. You know, it's a very cozy little life I got going for me here, so, you know, I can't complain. Look, if you're going to build a masterpiece life, I think you got to build it on a foundation of good health, because you're never going to enjoy life unless you feel good physically first, and I just feel fucking fantastic. Like, I got kind of obsessive about my health about a decade ago, and I think that investment is starting to pay off, so, you know, that's cool. The past couple of years have actually been really good for me. Like, you know, I've gone to a bunch of concerts. You know, I went on some road trips with that girl I met on here.
Hare Krishna, George.
So, yeah, I mean, good couple of years. You know, I did lose my mom last year, and that was kind of fucked. But, you know, aside from that, it's been a nice little break from Ghost of Adam. I hope if the AI wakes up, and, you know, I kind of wonder if it hasn't already and it's just not telling us. I hope its first act is to just immediately scramble everyone's cell phone irreparably as like an act of mercy. But yeah, shout out King Nobody, made a very nice video about me not too long ago. That did not go unappreciated. You know, I was one of his first subscribers. But yeah, if I have a contribution to the galaxy of unsolicited advice on YouTube, in a world begging for your attention, don't beg. Just be the diamonds.